Greetings and salutations. My name is Michael Schwahn, and today we are checking out Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon. With an asterisk on it, because we're going to be checking out something else just slightly first. So Tainted Grail, Fall of Avalon, I'm going to tell you right now, when I saw like a little bit of pictures here and there as I'm collecting these trailers up, because this game launches in early access in like a day or so, I was like, that just kind of looks like Skyrim. Is it Skyrim? I don't know. That's what we're going to be here to find out. But I also want to introduce the first game in the Tainted Grail franchise, just to kind of set the scene. These games are very, very different, as a heads up. But there is a game that is already out called Tainted Grail Conquest. It is available on at least Steam. I know it's on Steam. We're going to check out the announcement trailer and the launch trailer for Tainted Grail Conquest. I don't know how connected the games are, but just in case there's foundational like world stuff based on for the Fall of Avalon, I want to see Tainted Grail Conquest first, especially because I've only seen a little bit of Tainted Grail Conquest from my significant other playing it, because I believe it's available on Game Pass. So, first off, we will watch the announcement and launch trailer for Tainted Grail Conquest, starting now.
The age of Red Death is over. The age of Conquest has begun.
This game plays kind of in the similar vein of Slay the Spire.
Through blood and
Cards with a
pain,
resource cost that you use to fight your enemies.
every choice will matter.
And I do know that this game, it says it's a blend of RPG and roguelike. And what they mean by that is like you will accept a quest as part of your run, and you will go out on the quest and you'll like try to defeat an enemy, and if you defeat that enemy, you'll be able to like save somebody that then becomes part of your town or a new character that you can play as. So it does have a end game and a progression cycle in that way of that you're trying to complete this actual journey essentially. So that was the announcement trailer. Here's the launch trailer.
Do you want to know how to survive out there? The truth is, you won't. You will fall every single time. But then you will rise up again. Stronger, wiser, better prepared. Is it about having your wits about you? Is strength the key? The key is perseverance. After all, death is a process which you're about to conquer.
You enjoy this game, Athena? I'm glad to hear that. So like I mentioned, there is some story building and RPG aspects and progression within the world and the characters and the story that exists within this game. So if what we're getting ready to check out, which is a different style of game, because I understand that the game that you're looking at might not necessarily be something that you're like, oh yeah, I want to play that. But this game is a completely different genre, but it is in the same world and setting as what we just checked out. So if this game, it doesn't look appealing, but that game did, maybe go check that one out. If that game doesn't look appealing, maybe this one will. So now we're going to go into the initial teaser trailer for Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon that was posted on December 21st, 2021. Oh, hell no. Absolutely not. Never mind. I'm turning the video off. Okay, that was just a teaser trailer. Don't worry, we got more. So this is the official cinematic trailer. It's not going to show you gameplay. But, you know, I go in the order that the trailers were posted, okay? So this is from July 13th of 2022. Bit worried by the first one. Now I'm curious. You had my curiosity, and now I'm leaving with those child eyes. Yeah. No. No.
Table and its noble protectors, the majestic lake.
like it sucks to be that guy. You look cold. I'm cold just looking at you.
Broke the laws of nature. Now we have to pay the price and clean up your mess. Hear me, Arthur. I do what I do, not out of duty, but out of wrath.
Oh, that's a nope door. Nope. You brought a single fucking longsword to kill that? That dude's dead.
To meet you.
Yeah, this guy laying on the ground underneath all these stupid annotation shits, that's that dude. That big horrible monster grabbed him, picked the sword out of his hand, held him down, and stabbed him with it and said, "Try again next time, fool." The hell? I showed up with a fucking longsword and nothing else against that abhorrent Cronenberg, gross, nasty. All right, anyway, here's a gameplay trailer from August of 2022. Wow, this is crazy looking. What is happening?
You're awake. Good.
Hi.
I thought I'd get us to fire burning. Would have been a shame to freeze to death when we got so far.
Very Skyrim-esque, yes. I love the environment design. Oh, dude, this looks bad for you. Oh, never mind. They're all dead. Yeah, the world design, I'm digging. I'm digging hardcore.
Or what was left of him, a mile down the road. The weirdness merged him with his horse. A horrible way to die, don't you think?
Okay. Next, we have the official story trailer. This was from January 31st, 2023. We have one more after this, which is the early access release date. I just wish it didn't look graphically like Skyrim. Yeah, I mean, generic fantasy looks like generic fantasy. Hang on.
600 years ago, King Arthur led the great escape from the homelands, where our kingdoms were ravaged by the plague. Leading people to Avalon, he started the Age of Conquest and took the island from the Four-Dwellers. Using the mysterious powers of Menhirs, together with Merlin, they cleansed the land of the weirdness, a primordial force of chaos and possibility. But now, long after the death of the king, Camelot is in shambles as Avalon fractures into chaos. Old legends are gone, and the weirdness is creeping back into our lands. The bleeding heart of the plague has started beating once more. And the Red Death has returned. Rulers of the island Asylum, an order of the Red Priests, are desperate to stop it by any means necessary.
Interesting. So Tainted Grail Conquest probably covers the events of King Arthur and Merlin's landing in Avalon and conquesting Avalon. And this is about 600 years or so later, maybe a bit less, when the evil forces that they pushed out have started to resurface. And of course, you know, it's been 500 or however many years, so Arthur and Merlin are long since gone. Let me say, I meant like looking like it was 2011. You know, I've reached a point in gaming where unless something just genuinely looks terrible, and we've seen some games that genuinely look terrible doing these reactions, I don't care. Like, if a game, if as long as it has a cohesive art direction and art style, if the game looks like a PlayStation 3 game, doesn't bother me. I don't care. If the game still, like, is designed in a way where it all feels like it is all meant to be together, like if it all still fits, as long as you don't have like a really nice looking model against like a bunch of really bad looking environments, I don't care, right? That's perfectly fine by me. Then the main question is the gameplay good? Is the story serviceable? Like those types of questions. I have no qualms with games that don't look like current gen games. Like the two games of the same franchise that came out in the last handful of years is like Bayonetta 3 and Bayonetta Origins. They both have either slightly dated looking graphics or a very unique art style in terms of Bayonetta Origins, and I loved them both because they were cohesive experiences that looked well, played well, and were an enjoyable time to get through. So all right, this is the early access release date trailer.
Open your cell. The journey ahead won't be pleasant.
I've been waiting.
What do you want from us?
To take the Excalibur, obviously.
I actually think a lot of this just looks really good.
Against nature.
The combat looks a little too close to Skyrim, and Skyrim's melee combat is trash. But the actual graphical presentation I like a lot.
Back the dead. The only thing it can bring is misery.
Why are you here?
I need you to kill King Arthur.
Didn't one of the other trailers say that King Arthur was dead?
Never ends well.
Okay, so one of the notes also is it is early access. It is not available for purchase at this time. There is a demo apparently available for it. Let's see if they say anything about how long. Early access, we're aiming for a period of 9 to 16 months, depending on player feedback and general developmental flow. So plan on 2 years, okay? It's very rare that these targets are ever made. That's not a bad thing. It's just something that you should be aware of, is that it's probably going to be longer than 9 to 16 months. Although I will be curious if this game makes its way to Game Pass, right? Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon is an incredibly ambitious project. Our goal is to create a living and breathing open-world RPG with a lot of soul. We are an indie studio with a small roughly 30-person team, but we are highly ambitious and we want to create this unique game together with a community. We believe that involving players at an early stage of the game can be a fun experience for players and highly beneficial for the game's development because it gives us money. They didn't say that last part, but that's definitely probably what they're shooting for. The current early access version features the first chapter of the game, Horns of the South. It has around 10 to 15 hours of content, with more chapters to be added throughout the early access period. Please note that your saves may be deleted with major patches. 90% of the game's mechanics are present, but without final polish. There may be some bugs and imbalances. The final version of the game will have a more visual and audio polish on all fronts. The story quests from Chapter 1 are mostly finished, but may be altered based on player feedback. Okay. They expect the price to be higher at full release, so buying during early access should get you a pretty decent deal. Okay. So there is the presentation for Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon. I actually like a lot of what it's showing off so far. I completely understand you not being interested for the sake of early access, Eve. Like, I know that early access has burned a lot of people. I personally still don't have an issue with it. depending on how it's presented, right? Because like one of the biggest like qualms that I would have was this statement about that your saves made to be deleted with major patches. That's been my biggest issue with Baldur's Gate 3 and why I refuse to touch that game until it's out. But Baldur's Gate 3, I also refuse to accept that because I don't feel like that is how Baldur's Gate 3 should have been presented, especially because I feel like that is a mistake on the side of Larian Studios, who did a fantastic job with Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, and I don't feel like that should have been the approach that they had for Baldur's Gate 3. But with this, it actually bothers me a little less because it is kind of open worldy. This is something that I would probably be willing to pick up and play around with initially, provide some feedback, and then probably not be willing to touch it until it's closer to completion. And I know that they'd want people to continue playing like through the early access period, but that's just not something that I personally would be willing to invest my time into. One of the issues also with like Baldur's Gate 3 is it's a very, very heavily story-driven experience, where I do believe that this has a story to it, but I don't necessarily feel like it is the sole driving force in it. The open world, the exploration, the world design and stuff are things that are more appealing to me for Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon. And so while the story does intrigue me, it's not the thing that I am necessarily playing the game for. And so I'd be willing to absolutely pick it up and give it a try, and then probably put it down until I can play it from beginning to end. I like how much information they're giving about the early access content. Normally it's just a disclaimer. It shows that they have a level of care and weight into it, instead of just like, yo, hey, I guess we're going to release this in this state. My problem is that I often like early access style of game more than the final product, and sometimes, especially with some glitches and bugs. Oh, because you're like, I really love this, and then it gets changed by the final release. Totally understand as well. So that's Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon. It is releasing into early access. Like they said, there's about 10 to 15 hours of content that will be available in the first chapter of the game. They didn't mention how long the final product would be or how many chapters there necessarily would be. There is not a price available for the early access stage of this game at this point in time, but if you have interest in it, it is available. If you want to see the world in a more complete form, although it is with a different gameplay style, Tainted Grail Conquest is available. It's on Steam. I don't know if it's still available on Game Pass, but it is out there and available to you. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you have played Tainted Grail Conquest, how do you feel about this game? If you've played the demo of this game, how did you feel about it? Or if this is your first time being introduced to this, how do you feel? Is it something that you're interested in? Are you okay with early access? Or are you put off by it? Put all your thoughts down in the comments below. If you want to keep up the conversation elsewhere, two great places to do so are Discord and Twitter. Speaking of Discord, we have a channel dedicated to these reactions where you can place links of your own that we can check out together live on stream, because we do stream on Twitch, and I would love to see you there. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like. If you want to catch future videos, please subscribe to the channel. If you watch one of the other videos on the channel, or if I see you in the live stream, thank you and enjoy.